Shalom. This is Ahaya Elohim Hanabi ben Yochanan. Melech Brian ben Yochanan ben David. And this is another installment of Out of Context Scriptures, part 4 of Esau curse, hatred, doctrine. In the last few videos, last 3 videos, I believe. I'm actually losing count. It's getting kind of late. I've done probably 4 or 5 videos. This actually might be video 5, but hopefully I was correct when saying video 4. In the last 3 videos, we went over what the main doctrine is being used by the Hebrew Israelite camp to pour hatred out toward white America, that they are labeled as the entire nation of Edom, or the offspring of Esau, and they are the ones that have the curse of retaliation being placed upon them. They use Revelation 13:10 as their main verse of doctrine, their main basis, their main verse of basis for their doctrine. I'm sorry. We've went over in the past few videos, a couple of other verses that they might use to try to strengthen that doctrine, and correlate with their main verse. We went through Romans in the last video and notice that though there is some kind of an importance to being a Hebrew, some kind of significance to being a Hebrew, that the significance really, really ends at judgment. That, the Jews are most important because the law the Torah was initially given to us. That we were supposed to be the beacon of light, the difference in the world, to show all those in the world how to truly, spiritually, maybe even ritualistically, but not religiously, maybe even religiously in the sense of repeated action, continual repeated action, and not, religiously in the sense of what religion means in this world today, how they were supposed to live in that manner. But that the importance of being a Jew, it stops at judgment, that, we'll be the first to either be judged or justified, therefore being condemned or rewarded, condemned to damnation or rewarded with righteousness and, life everlasting. We also noted that the law is important, not just for the Jew, but also for the Gentile who never even knew the law but lived by it. Little known fact, Yaub, or Job, he was an Asian, and he didn't particularly know Yahuwah in the fashion that Hebrews do, but he, as far as a given law, but he knew Yahuwah in the fashion that the Hebrews were meant to, and that he was completely obedient to the law, for that it was already written in his heart. All right. So where we're going now is we're jumping to James to just kind of hint and strengthen that last point I made about knowing the law and having it written in the heart. Here in James, and that is Yaakov, chapter 1, verse 22, and it says, "Do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says." Okay. And so, I'm saying this to not only the Hebrews and not only to the Christians, but also to myself. I do still catch myself, trying to purposely go around or circumvent the law. Just do what it says. Christians do that often, but they're so confused on what the law of faith really is. But I kind of explained that in the last video, so make sure you check out that last video. You'll get a very, very good, at least a reference explanation of what the law of faith is. I do plan on doing some videos of Romaim, that is Romans, and some videos more specifically about Paul's letters, and that will eventually be one of the topics about the law of faith. But don't just listen to the word. Do what it says, because the law is in the word, and that is a dualistic thing. The law is in the word as the written word, the Bible, the Torah, the mitzvah, or the commandments. But the law is also the word as the gospel, for the gospel still speaks the law. And many people don't really know and understand that. But we're going to go on. Lucas. You can understand what that means, what book we should be going to. Lucas 17. Lucas 17, 11 through 19. 11 through 19 says this. Now on his way to Jerusalem, Yahushua traveled along the border between Samaria, and Galilee. As he was going into the village, 10 men who had leprosy met him. They stood at a distance and called out in a loud voice, Yahushua Adon, have pity on us. When he saw them, he said, go show yourselves to the priests. As they went, they were cleansed. One of them, let me stop there real quick. Go show yourself to the priests. That's a very important thing. Very, very, very important. And the reason why that is important is because right there, Yahushua is giving them a commandment about following the commandments. Let me prove that without changing what's on the screen here. I'm trying to check my notes. I'm sorry, I've got it written down. There is another verse that very, 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 very specifically coincides with that, and I believe it also is out of Matith. I'm sorry, this is Lucas, but I believe it is out of Matith Yahu. And it is, as I said, it is a verse where Yahushua specifically tells the men to follow a commandment, a written commandment, one of the 614 laws that many think have been done away with. And I am a little upset that I'm actually still looking for this verse. I've got so many notes, and I still unfortunately don't have, excuse me, enough of all of the right scriptures committed to memory as I should. Oh, darn it. It's crazy that I can't find it because I just looked at it earlier and thought to myself, you know what? I'm probably going to need to use that a little bit later when I do my lesson. And the thing is that I didn't write it down as part of my lesson notes, so I didn't specifically include it as part of my notes. I mean, as part of this lesson. It's gotta be really close to here. Ha, here it is. No, that's not it. Well, geez. That is not only surprising, but, quite upsetting. It's quite upsetting. Well, anyway, loosely, this is what it said. He ends up healing a guy, and he tells him to report to the priest, the Kohen, and to do what is required or subscribed in the commandments. And the key thing at the end of that verse, he says, as a testament to them. And I have once done a video about that as well. It's a video about the commandments and the law, and that the law was not done away with, and that we are still to be following the law and upholding all of the commandments. But that is just that we are wrapped in grace. And so it gives a smoke screen that the commandments are null and void simply because we are not under the direct and or specific condemnation of the law in the sense that it was originally written. But anyway, unfortunately, I can't, like I said, I can't. Oh, you know what? I bet it. Oh, no, don't rip. No, don't do that. I bet it's right here on the floor. Yep. Let's see here. Matith Yahoo. As a matter of fact, I think I do have it on a list. Okay, so we'll actually get to that next then. I apologize for that delay. One of them, when he saw he was healed, he came back praising Yahuwah in a loud voice. He threw himself at Yeshua's feet and thanked him. He was a Samaritan. Samaritan. Shamartaim. All right. He was a Samaritan. Jesus asked, were not all 10 cleansed? Where are the other 9? And we're going to stop right there. Where are the other 9? Were not all 10 cleansed? Where are the other 9? And he's baffled. And you can understand why. Because obviously, the other 9 were Hebrews. This one person that came back was a Samaritan. He wasn't a full-blood Hebrew, a full national of the Israelites. All right? of Yisraim. He goes on to say, but no one returned to give praise to Yahuwah except this foreigner. And the Hebrews wonder why God's grace is also upon, as they put it, the whites, or the Gentiles. This is the reason. Because the Gentiles will give genuine thanks, glory, and honor to Yahuwah for doing wonderful things. Whereas we just feel, you're supposed to because we're your people. You see what I'm saying? That's the strong mentality that most Negroes, most niggas in this country today have for real. They just feel like, oh man, we've already been through so much, man, y'all just owe us anyway. And half the time it's the young cats that feel this, man. Cats that don't even know anything about no kind of real racism, separatism, you know what I'm saying? None of that. Persecution, none of that. I don't really know nothing about that, bro. Police persecution, maybe, man. But there's a lot of trigger happy police. Police are nutbags. Police shoot all kind of people. It just so happens that a lot of black people just happen to be more in the line of police fire, especially, over the given past 4 or 5 years, heightened, that is, than anyone else. But it doesn't exclude everyone. But we exclude everyone. We are always trying to separate ourselves. Even the Hebrew Israelites, that's exactly what they're doing. They're trying to separate themselves. But that's not the right way to separate, because that's causing a unrighteous division. That's causing a division of a faction that is violent, that is hateful, that is not truly all-encompassing loving, godly loving, agape loving. Greek word meaning, godly or heavenly or all-encompassing or unconditional. They don't have that kind of love. So they're breaking the commandments. They're breaking the mitzvah. They're breaking the Torah, the law, by doing so. Let's go to Matith Yahu chapter 8, verse 4. Chapter 8, verse 4 says, then Yahushua said to him, see that you don't tell anyone, but go show yourself to the Kohen and offer the gift Moshe commanded as a testament to them. It's a testament to the commandments. It's not a testament to Moshe and the Kohen. That's not the them it's talking about the commandments. Okay. And the point of me throwing this in here is to just to reiterate that the law is not dead. The law is not done away with. We are now bound by the law of faith. We are no longer under the law, the written law. We are within or on top of the written law. But we are bound now by the law of faith, which also still expresses and exhibits, if done properly and correctly, the written law. The simple difference is that the law of faith allows us to slip, not purposely, accidentally, maybe even sometimes purposely. But, that's probably a given situation, and that's definitely not, a consistent, purposeful action, things like that. No, it's like, I lost control. I had an anger problem. I lashed out. I'm going to do my best to make sure that I control it next time or next few times or wherever, Okay, so the law of faith covers us with that. So that way we don't fall under condemnation through the law, the written law, because having malice against your brother is a condemnation of the law. It's a breaking of the law. I mean, even Christ spoke that. Remember, he says, so what you do is you go back to your brother and you make amends real quick. Why? Because that's the law of faith in work. The law of faith in work in that area is through the action of love. Let me go back to my brother. Let me make amends. Or even a person I offended who's not particularly somebody I'd call my brother, who I might even be calling my enemy at the moment. But let me go back and make amends to him. Let me say I'm sorry. Let me apologize. Let me try to make things right. And then I can go back on and continue in my walk of faith in perfection. Not in imperfection, but in perfection. Okay? Let's stay in Matith Yahoo, and let's go to chapter 9. You know what? Boop. Chapter 9, verse 13. 13 says this, but go and learn what this means. I desire mercy, not sacrifice, for I have not come to call the righteous, but the sinners. Now think about that, especially you Hebrew Israelites. I desire mercy, not sacrifice. Go back and learn what that means. You know where that comes from? That comes from Hosea. We're going to end up going there here pretty soon. So you don't even have to go back. I'm going to take you there. All right? I'm going to take you there. He desires mercy, not sacrifice. You guys are so caught up in the old way of thinking that it's really got you lost in time. Like if you were able to, I wouldn't doubt that you guys would be performing sacrifices multiple times a day, every single day. Because of how stringent, not stringent, how demanding you are, even of yourselves, of the strict adherence of the law. And simply by focusing so much on that, you ignore the law of faith. And that is a fatal move. For it is not the simple obedience of the law that will save us, but it is through the obedience of the law and the belief in faith of Yahushua HaMashiach. For there is a great possibility that not every single day you will be able to follow every single law absolutely to the T. And that's where you need HaMashiach. Because he is the last sacrifice. We no longer have to sacrifice sheep, lambs, and cows. We now can just go to Ha'abba and we can apologize and we can repent and we can have the blood of the last lamb, the blood of the Lamb of Yahuwah poured out and spilled over our situation to then cleanse us. So that way we can still remain righteous, perfect, and holy. So let's go a little bit more into this. 12. Let's see, 12:7. 12:7 says, if you had known what these words mean, I desire mercy, not sacrifice, you would have condemned, you would not have condemned the innocent. Just wanted you to think about that for a minute. That's why I stopped talking. If you had known what these words mean, I desire mercy, not sacrifice, you would have not condemned the innocent. You Hebrew Israelites, this verse is specifically for you. First and foremost, he repeats this twice in the midst of 3 different chapters, in the midst of 4 chapters total. Because, 9, 10, 11, 12. If you're using your fingers, you're going to pull up 4 fingers, counting all those numbers. So in the midst of 4 chapters, he mentions this twice. So it's just pretty much back to back. And he's trying to tell you there's an importance in knowing that mercy is what Yahuwah wishes to have. That's what he wants first and foremost, above all. That is the sacrifice. That is the sacrifice. Is mercy. Unless something is completely and supposed to be specifically dedicated to him, is it not to be destroyed? Only then. Let's go to Hanabi that spouted these very words. Right here it says, "For I desire mercy, not sacrifice, and acknowledgement of Yahuwah rather than burnt offerings." That ain't good enough for you? Let's go to Tehillim. That is Psalms. Tehillim. Tehillim. Psalms 40:6. "Sacrifice and offering you did not desire, but my ears you have opened. Burnt offerings and sin offerings you do not require." Are you guys getting it yet? Not yet? All right. You need another one? Okay. One more. How about 51? 51:16. "You do not delight in sacrifice, or I would bring it. You do not take pleasure in burnt offerings." What does he want? Broken and contrite heart? A mouth open full of his praise? You see, my sacrifice, O Yahuwah, is a broken spirit, a broken and contrite heart. You, Yahuwah, will not despise. That is the sacrifice. Humble yourself. Be humble at all times, before all people, and before Yahuwah, before Ha-Elohim. That is the sacrifice. But above all, you're supposed to be merciful. You're supposed to pour out mercy upon people. When you're preaching in DC and Philly and New York and Chicago, when you stand out in them streets in Miami, and you hollering and screaming at people, and not all these white people, and we gonna enslave you, you gonna be our slaves, we're gonna put you in prison. If you don't want to go, we're gonna kill you because the Bible says we can. Y'all wrong, man. Y'all wrong. Y'all spouting lies, and y'all turning God into a liar. You're turning Yahweh into a liar. But Yahweh can't be made a liar. For let every man be a liar and Yahweh always be true. And what he says is that he wants mercy. Let that always be true then. Let him always want mercy. Even for those who so long ago that we have no repercussions, no specific negative repercussions from, may have enslaved our ancestors. And, some black people might argue, some, Hebrew brothers might argue, what you mean we ain't got no direct repercussions? Okay, I'll tell you like this, man, because I done met many of white people who way poorer than me, and I ain't got no money, bro. I run my little business, but this year, man, y'all has cut the bank off, man. He closed my trust fund. I wasn't acting right as a son, I gotta get right, man. I gotta get right with daddy first, man. You know what I'm saying? Before he let me get the black card back. I understand that. But still and all, even though I ain't got no job, I live in a very nice, no job. And plus I ain't got no income coming in through my own personal business. I still live in a very nice apartment. I've got laptops, phones, TVs, internet, cable. There are plenty of white people, plenty, a few of them I know, who ain't got half of what I got. So that's why I say we're not really suffering from those repercussions. Because if we are, then so are these white people. And why would those white people need to suffer the same repercussions we suffering? Unless they help the black people. And we don't know that, do we? I know some poor white people who can't stand niggas. So we know they didn't help no black people. So seriously, I mean, I've made it. I would say about 3/5 of the way. No, I made it a clear half of the way through this list that I need to go through of all these points that I need to make to debunk this Esau curse hatred doctrine. And I believe this last little bit of what I was just talking about in this last video here, I mean, that puts it out there on a slab. Mercy. The sacrifice we are supposed to have is humility, to be humble at all times, to be humble and meek until the time of war. That's when we become soldiers and hard. But even then, we are to know when to use discernment, still exhibit and express and pour out mercy and love. A lot of Christians don't do this. How many of you people would just simply open your door to somebody you didn't know? All you people that say you follow Yahushua, Jesus Christ. How many of you people? If none of y'all knew me, if none of y'all seen any of my videos, you know, if none of y'all saw my personal page and saw any of my kids or anything like that, this strange guy, this strange voice in this video just popped up on your doorstep and you didn't even recognize the voice. This just strange guy popped up on your doorstep. And I kind of want to throw this out here in a sense on purpose, more specifically for you white folks who claim to follow Jesus Christ and still are kind of funny about black people. How many of y'all would just open y'all's door to me? I came to your doorstep, knocked on your door and said, look, I ain't got nowhere to go. I've tried everything I could. I sat and prayed. And God told me to come and knock on your door. And that was the end of my conversation. Because I would expect you to take over from then. What would you do? Leave your comments, please. Any and everybody that really chose to listen to this video all the way through to the end, leave your comments. What would you do if you absolutely didn't know me? You know, take that back if you know me very well. You know, because the people that don't know me very well might be able to answer that question really easy. But for the people that know me very well, if you know me very well, don't use me in the equation. Use an absolute stranger. Would you just let some strange person in your house? This is Ahaya Elohim Hanabi Melech Brian Ben Yochanan Ben David saying Baruch Shalom. Until the next video.